We have Mark here who is going to start a new job as the data science manager. His experience would be really valuable for those who are in a more senior and lead position, who we want to accelerate and eliminate some of the guesswork in your job search. Mark, thanks for your time today. I have a few questions for you. So the first question is, can you tell us about, very quickly, your background and the new offer that you are about to start?
So I'm currently a data science manager at Ocado, and I've been at Ocado for about 4 years. I was looking to find a new role, a bit more of a B2C focus. I was offered a job at Trainline, so it was the 5th interview that I completed.
Great. Can you share your salary and how does the new package compare to your current job?
So currently my current salary is in the high £90,000 mark, and now I've got a salary within the £110,000 bracket plus an annual bonus paid in cash of 10% of my salary. In addition to stock options. I should have said with Ocado, I also get a percentage in stock options as well. I've increased my salary by at least 10,000 on the base, but potential of 20,000 with the annual bonus as well, and then with the stock options. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Can you give us some insights on what made you choose to work with me to land this offer?
So the last time I'd interviewed was 4 years ago, so quite a long time ago. And I had a feeling that the approach to interviewing had shifted in the industry. And I started off in February trying to read loads of Medium articles, blog posts, getting a bit lost. I probably spent months prepping and trying to collate everything that I thought I was going to be asked. And then I met you, Mandy, in April. So from February to April, I hadn't done any applications. I'd literally just been reading blogs and trying to prep for what I thought and getting confused about what would actually be asked. And having joined the Code to Careers, you gave me all the templates that I needed to get going much faster. So I probably spent 2.5 months researching, but I didn't need to research and I could have just moved faster. Another benefit of the Code for Careers and actually getting pushed to do the interviewing was that I could quickly rule out of the 5 or 6 different areas of things that could come up. Actually, in a manager position, what I found was it was only really 3 things that were coming up over and over again. So I could cut the 6 things that I was prepping for down to 3. The Code to Career gave me much better frameworks to use. It cut out a lot of the guesswork, pushed me to actually start going and having that support. I would say as well, being more senior, I completely underestimated the value of LinkedIn. So I thought my LinkedIn was pretty good, but actually using the Code to Career, both CV, but I'd say mainly the LinkedIn advice, all the jobs I applied to, they all approached me on LinkedIn. That was like a real kind of eye-opening moment that I should be investing more in LinkedIn and I should be kind of making sure it's kind of like my profile is like search optimized because it makes such a difference. And even now, like, I can see like on a weekly basis, I think I come up in like 200 searches a week post the advice that you've given me.
Right. And you mentioned you had 4 or 5 interviews and they all came from recruit outreach from LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it's really crucial for you because you have a full-time job and you are responsible for a team as well. So it's absolutely essential for you to be efficient and move fast and not waste time looking around or waste time drowning yourself in endless applications.
I think if it's really hard if you're working and then trying to apply for jobs. What I've realized in the process was almost prepping for the interviews is almost a full-time job. I would say for the more senior positions, maybe really pick the jobs that you want to apply for, and then be very clever and strategic on how you approach prepping for them in the best way, and not, as you say, drowning in all of the stuff that you could be doing. You need to be very focused on it.
Can you give me one or two specific examples on what exactly we worked on, or the support that you got from me or the community that helped you in the process?
The number one thing that I didn't have any experience in was the product sense or the product case studies. And I think that's the number one thing that you probably helped me with. What are the common questions and what are the frameworks that I can use to answer these questions? You're nervous in the interview anyway, so you need to have a framework or some way to structure your thought process. Not only was having the frameworks important, but as I was practicing and actually doing some interviews, it highlighted gaps in my knowledge that are really hot topics, especially if you want to work for someone like Meta or B2C, and then like the related metrics. So, knowing retention metrics inside out, knowing the importance of engagement metrics. So it's not just the framework, it's also the metric thinking that goes around that, and all of that stuff was definitely a gap for me.
Thanks for sharing that. You mentioned in the offer that you accepted that, right, you got the feedback that your performance was so strong that they were able to offer you 10% more in base and then also 10% bonus. What do you think contributed to your strong interview performance?
I think there are a few things. Having the frameworks were really helpful. You have different types of interviews, so you need to be really strategic and really focused. Also, the advice on how to prepare and actually think about the interview process one stage at a time. So rather than thinking, oh, I've got an interview, I better prepare everything, really sweat the recruiter, ask them as much information as possible, ask the hiring manager loads of questions to get clues as to future rounds and how best to prepare. Because ideally what I'd normally do was have one interview round, be 1 or 2 weeks in the future, prep for that 1 or 2 if I'm successful, then find out as much information about the next round, prep for that. So don't prep everything, just prep each round, and speak to recruiters. So what frameworks, but also, again, going back to being smart with how you use your time, how to use the recruiters, how to ask clever sort of questions that can tease out things that hiring managers care about. And I definitely, for the Trainline, when I got the job, I definitely used those 2 tactics, especially as I progressed into the later rounds.
So you are a DS manager and you know what you're doing. Why do you think that someone like yourself would be interested in interview coaching?
I think the market has changed. Data moves so fast. Even what do you mean by a data scientist is now so generic. I would definitely see now, and as you progress more in seniority, the technical stuff is more of a commodity. It's actually a lot of the other skills that people are drilling you more on. So to give everyone some context, every interview I did had at least 1 or multiple rounds of product case studies. There was a lot of like, how do you deal with ambiguity in a situation? So there's an increased emphasis on how do you think, how would you approach this situation? Because they're just assuming you've got the technical skills. Like, if I was to go back 4 years, it would probably be like, oh, competency, and it'll give you some technical things just to see if you're technically good enough. We want to see how you drive an impact, how you would, especially for a manager role, how would you set up a team? How would you pair with your other product or engineering stakeholders? So the nature of the market and what people are looking for are changing. And certainly for me, doing these types of interviews to this level, I hadn't done before. So that's why even for manager and director level, that's why it's critical to get some coaching, because it's, if you're going to invest all of this time and the salary is, I don't know, 20-30% jump in what you're already getting why wouldn't you invest in a career coach that can actually help one shortcut your time to prepare and give you meaningful advice, but also help you along the way to give you relevant feedback to know how to prepare in the best way.
Is there anything I didn't ask that you wanted to share?
I really probably underestimated this time, and I would definitely pay attention to anyone who interviewing in the future would be mindset and failure. Initially, first interview failure hit me quite hard. It took me a while to develop that kind of learning mindset. I definitely would say interviewing is like going to the gym. You're never going to be, very rarely will you be amazing straight off the bat, because chances are you haven't done any interviews for years, so you're a little bit rusty. But I would think, don't take like the failures personally. Just think about, what can I learn from these opportunities? And actually, that was one thing that really kind of helped me identify some potential gaps, which really helped me for like getting the Trainline job. I think, yeah, mindset as well. And definitely having people that you can kind of discuss things with is like super important, just to kind of get that bit of perspective.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing your story so honestly with us, Mark.
So I think it was like, for me, as I said before, that the investment was like a no-brainer. Like, get where I was to where the end of August, I've gone like 4 months and I've got something. And okay, I did five interviews, but I learned so much in that time.